Are you jealous?
Oh shit, here we go again.
Bitch, are you jealous?
Yes, sir. It's your man, I Make Mad Beats, live from outer space. This is Type Beat, a podcast at outer space, an unapologetic studio. Live here with my guests, with my cast today. I'll let them introduce themselves.
It's the guest, LJ1S.
I'm the guest unique. Yes.
C Major.
Kid Maestro. And in the background, we got my man Jackson.
Jackson Hendricks in the building.
Period.
Jackson Hendricks in the building.
No guitar.
You gotta mess up. You gotta mess up the. Hey, yo, what's my man? Charlie Yamay.
Charlotte McGay.
Charlotte McGay. Angela McGee. Big shout out to my man Jackson in the building. Making sure Type Beat always look great. We got topics, right? What we talking about?
I think we got topics. So of course this is Type Beat, producer engineer podcast.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, first topic, WhoSampled, which is a platform, that pretty much reveals samples up in songs and music in general that we all love. Is it helpful or harmful for the producer engineer community? And then compression. We on some nerd shit. Like time to dive in and talk about compression. What? Wait. What was that?
I have no idea what is going on. Man,
Kids just did some crazy shit.
Y'all got it.
In his whole pocket. We can end his whole shit right
Y'all
now,
got
bro. This nigga kid just did something.
Bro, I wasn't expecting that.
After none of that. That's crazy.
Where's Type Beat, bro? The transport, the full transport is there. You know what I'm saying?
All right, man.
What it is?
WhoSampled, man? WhoSampled? How y'all feel about it? Is it snitching?
Okay.
definitely.
Look.
Is it snitching for the culture?
That's what I'm saying. So
now,
all right.
Go ahead.
So just some context. All right. When I first discovered WhoSampled,
Yeah.
right, coming into this producer game, bro, it was such a treasured situation because it's like dang, I can really study like how the greats really broke down, like took a sample, flipped it, did something amazing, extrapolate, get inspiration, talk about it, right? Because that's the thing. Like, be like, yo, you heard how you flipped that sample? Like, that's the thing in the producer community. We appreciate that. We appreciate the art, right? So to be able to peek behind the lens and be like, oh, dang, this is how they took this part from this. But that literally feeds, you know, our inspiration and all that. Okay, so that's what it was. Then I seen this interview where they was talking about how there's people. So I didn't think. First of all, upon being introduced to this website, I'm mostly looking up like major, like known stuff. Right. So I'm just kind of assuming that these things were clear because I'm assuming, especially the older stuff, labels back in the day was just dropping budgets and niggas was getting paid $300,000 for a beat and stuff. Like I'm just feeling like niggas got money to get the lawyers to clear these samples, and therefore that's how it's ending up on these websites because the information is written on ASCAP or BMI, right? So, to me, you know, this is like all the legal stuff. And if it's not on there, then it probably didn't get cleared, right? That's why you can't find it. Because not everything is on there from everybody, right? So that's how I'm looking at it. So I see this interview, this producer is talking about, like, he did the song for, I guess, Jump Around. And
Bugs?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So he's talking about, I mean, and this is like a current gent, so he's older, you know what I'm saying? Like that was a hit song. And he's saying, like, I hate this WhoSampled Snitchin crap because you know, you got these ambulance
your
chasers.
Your impression of him is terrible.
Yeah, you know, he's just I
gotta hear this nigga.
So he's talking about these quote unquote ambulance chaser lawyers. And basically these lawyers is going on this website looking at these major hits, right? Seeing the samples that got revealed on this junk. Calling the people that own it.
Crazy.
Asking if they got it cleared. And they're like, nah. And so he's presenting this opportunity. Yo, this song made so many, it was 1,000 platinum. And you know what I'm saying? It's an opportunity. I got to, you know, we can get some money off this. And these artists probably, you know what I'm saying, they may be more successful, maybe not. Maybe could come up on a check, you know what I'm saying, and take this opportunity. Like, all right, bet. You going to give me some money that I didn't have off a song I made? Come with it. Crazy. And so now there's a lawsuit brought, you know what I'm saying, against the producer who built a whole legacy, inspired us, you know what I'm saying, built this culture.
Spent the money.
And spent the money. He was talking about houses and cars and stuff. But he was also talking about like college funds for his kids. And he's thinking, oh man, I'm about to lose everything now. You know what I'm saying? I never really thought about it that way. I never really figured that the stuff that was actually on WhoSampled was user uploaded on some Wikipedia vibe, not like a legal kind of database of stuff that was legally cleared. So now we have a dilemma. There's the educational and inspirational and communal benefits of being able to discuss deeply the records we love, right? By seeing where these samples come from. There's new discovery, all of that stuff. Versus the potential like exposure of the people we love, the artists we love, you know what I'm saying, for people who are out there to take advantage of them. You know what I mean? So this was kind of a recent thing that I never really had to come to grips with. So I'm like, dang, you know what I'm saying? I got the app on the phone. It's advanced. Like you can literally be playing something. They got an app, bro. You can literally be playing something on your Spotify or your Apple Music. While it's playing, open the app. It'll read what you're playing and then tell you the samples that was in it, if it's in the database. Like you don't even got to search. You just be playing it. Oh, I wonder where the sample come from. Really? Open up the app and it's like, you playing this? Here's what we got. You know what I mean? So it's a powerful tool, and it's getting worse with AI. Like, because now they can get it down. They can detect this shit down to the sample. So now drum breaks, if it's not like a known jump, like it's getting crazy. So I don't know. What y'all think? Do y'all think is like, with that context, is this helpful for our community?
Well,
or harmful.
it depends on how you look at it, because as the great Mads always says, there's levels to this.
There's levels to this.
Like,
Matter of fact, hold on. Let me make sure they know it came from me. Hold on.
Make sure.
but period. Like I believe if you're tight within your craft and got your shit together, like you shouldn't even be worried about if they do come for you, you know what I'm saying? But I do think it's like kind of harmful in a sense of, like, say if you one of them people that don't, one of those quote unquote gatekeeper people that don't like for nobody to know, where you got your shit from. Of course you're getting your feelings about it, but I think it's a great tool to give credit to the people who actually, were the inspiration behind the track. You know what I'm saying? I think that's wonderful. Like, a lot of those people don't get any credit. We don't even know who half of these people are anymore. Like, it's been thousands of artists out here that have been sampled, ran over, and nobody knew who they were, all because someone else made their shit sound better than they did, or they got inspired.
I mean,
like they took what they McDonald's their ass, like, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to McDonald's. I like y'all fries when they fresh.
McDonald's their ass.
You know what I'm saying?
That's wild.
But for real, like, if you're a true artist or producer, I call producers artists because they're practicing in an art. It's all art. But if you're a producer that goes to these sites and stuff like that, to WhoSampled, just to see who sampled that shit, like, shout out to the ones that still giving motherfuckers credit. Shout out to WhoSampled, because without y'all, like, motherfuckers wouldn't know who people are. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's the thing. We've heard a lot of stories about how samples have revitalized these older artists' careers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
people making real money nowadays, like money that they never would have thought that they could have ever made, all because someone found out who sampled their stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't fucking with it. I ain't fucking with it.
It's controversy.
Of course.
I ain't fucking with it.
Yeah, I ain't fucking with it. Just on some, like, for me, yes, I've used WhoSampled, but like you said, a lot of times when I use WhoSampled is when it's a dope ass sample and I feel like the producer didn't give it justice. And I'm like, all right, let me find out what sample this is and let me flip this my way.
Wait a minute.
That's legit, like, the only time.
So you go to the website. Look, you like, yo.
If it's a dope ass sample, and I'm like,
And
bro, you failed with that, bro.
Jay Dilla didn't hit this jam.
Bro,
Like, who is that? That's what you saying?
That's what I said, but I had never heard a song where I'm like, Jay Dilla didn't flip this right. So
what I'm
that's
saying, have you ever
case.
looked up a Jay Dilla sample and listened to the original record?
No.
You ain't never. Damn, that's crazy.
No, a lot of times for me, and this, well, I've looked it up on some, like, not on some WhoSampled. A lot of times, I feel like, and it just could be from the era and how I was brought up with it. I enjoy the process of finding the samples. Like, even to go into, like, record stores, like, I enjoy that process.
Wait,
so
finding the samples
finding the
other
samples,
people's use?
either one.
Organically, though.
Yeah, organically. And sometimes, even if I love a song, I hate it, but I enjoy the process of, like, listening to a record, like, oh shit, I had this, and like, oh, he used this, and finding it that way versus be like, man, let me go on WhoSampled.
That's crazy discipline, bro.
me.
I gotta know it right then and there. I be having to know, like, in the moment.
I understand where you go ahead. No.
Yeah, because I mean, I enjoy the process of it. So I wouldn't want to, like, short myself that unless it's something like, yo, I need this. This has to happen right now. Cool. Then of course, yeah, I'm aware of the shortcuts, but
okay,
I enjoy the process.
But the question though is the platform being available in that way helpful or harmful to the community? Do you think it's helpful for us to have that sort of access to such a large catalog of music?
Nah, fuck that, man. Do the work. Do the work. It's okay.
I think it's kind of like doing the work for you in a sense. Like,
exactly.
What if? Well, no.
That's what I just said. Like,
no, in my opinion, I say so. We got these records right over here, right? So it may be a song that a motherfucker play and be like, damn, I ain't got this record. I wonder where it is. I don't know which one it is. You know what I'm saying? I think that's where WhoSampled comes in and be like, hey, this is exactly where it is, type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Wait. Wait a minute. Do the work. Like,
Man, I let you live on that, bro. Man, I let you live on that.
do the work.
That's some
What you
tough-
talking about?
Bro,
Like,
I just
bro,
enjoy
you
that
not getting out
pressure.
your drums from break beats on the records? Like, that's...
No, hey, legit for the beginning, like when
But
I
you're
first
not
started.
doing that now because
Now-
times has changed. Like, and the work looks different.
That's true.
Like, I don't... That's not... Why do niggas gotta, like... Just go comb through millions of records to
just-
randomly find something they interested in.
Like I said,
that they
for me-
that they appreciate.
I enjoy that process.
I'm saying, but why is that not the work?
It is
Why,
what you.
and how and more so, how is that harmful?
I mean, we just discovered how it's harmful for the producer community.
We also talked about how it's helpful.
True.
Yeah, and I think in that case too, like he's not involved. Like clear to something. Like, of course, it's clear to something. And, you know, that's a tough deal to do, and then niggas don't be thinking about this shit in a moment. But also, nigga, clear to something. Like you're not blameless in this.
No, you're definitely not.
You know
You're
what I mean?
definitely not.
Like,
That's another thing too. Like I still, if I'm not gonna pick one side like clear the sample, of course, because yes, we do that as a business, but it's also when you trying to get into this and you just figuring the shit out. And niggas, how many people got cracked plugins,
Man.
cracked all this, and
I don't know who Muggs and
wow.
all of them was working with.
Oh, I thought
Jump
you was gonna
Around
say
was
something
a
else.
crazy big hit, and to me, like them just be like. These was like big ass labels, you know what I'm saying? Back in the
somebody
day,
dropped the ball.
No, in fact, somebody dropped
Like-
the ball on that for sure.
you know what I'm
sure.
saying? Like, to me, that's like on some independent shit. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I get it because those budgets get astronomical, and it's like, all right, that to me, that's like, all right, I'm gonna intentionally use this as a way to like get attention if it's special enough, and accept the consequences of this no longer being able to be a part of the full revenue, and that sucks. But when you a label and you already investing
Yeah, no, that's
mad
different. Yeah,
money
that's a
into a
completely
joint,
different
like
situation.
I don't know, man. You should tell the story of Pharaoh Monch.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one. That is okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That is a real. That's
like
that's a real.
I feel like it'd be like I don't know. That's the label. You know what I'm saying?
That's a label part.
Because these dudes wasn't independent like that back in the day.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think that's more also like enjoying the music, enjoying the process, but also on some independent shit. Like when niggas trying to crack through that door, hey, bro, sometimes you gotta take them risks. And I know for me, even if it's a big song and niggas be like, we want all the publish or whatever. All right, cool. I feel like it's up to you to best figure out how to work that situation, because if your name buzzing off this song and yeah, they take all the money, but now you may have leverage to do some other shit, but it's also about how you approach it. And I think that's more so the perspective I'm looking at it from.
Bro, I remember before WhoSampled. I feel like I was doing this before WhoSampled was even like a thing. And I remember like it would be long as, I don't know if it was YouTube, but it would be long as videos of like Kanye West, all these, and it would be like, this is College Dropout, this is all the samples in College Dropout and shit. And that shit used to be like, thank you. Like it really, if it was like, if I had listened to Lightworks by Jay Dilla and not known where that sample came from, you don't understand the beat until you hear like, damn, nigga, you did this from this. That shit had, listen to Jay Dilla was the one that made me like I'm thanking God for WhoSampled, because like, if you just listen to a Dilla beat, like, yeah, it's smack, it's hard and shit, but once you break down like, he got this from this, now you like, nigga, you're a fucking genius, bro. Like that changed my whole perspective on him. He went from like a great producer to, I can't fuck with this nigga. Like nobody can fuck with this nigga. He went to like God level just from hearing like, what the fuck? Like, so if I had to organically find, I would have never, like, somebody, like, that's the point of these niggas making this shit. Like, Jay Dilla was one of them niggas that you not finna find the shit that you not finna organically stumble over anything he sampled. Unless
I enjoyed it.
That shit be crazy to me, bro. Like, that's some discipline, bro. I need to know. I need to know off top, nigga, like, where you get this shit from and what you do.
I guess what's the intentionality behind it? Like it. I'm not that I know the joy of discovering a sample, like, oh, that's that is a great that sort of eureka feeling is a great moment. So I feel you. But how are you, like, are you ever intentional about finding samples?
A lot of times.
So how do you what is the process without a Who sample for you to do that?
I mean, I also come from that era of reading the credits and figure out who's involved or whatever. So like that's still
OG Who sample.
and that's what I'm saying. Like I still go through that process. Like it might not be like, oh, a sample from this, but this is the artist that he came from. Now I'm discovering their whole, all.
Yeah, it used to be Wikipedia too. Like Wikipedia was doing it. I feel like I don't know. I gotta figure out when Who sample became a thing.
Even with those credits though, like some of those people was not even giving credit to everybody. That was
that's a fact.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
That's the other part. Is like, the artists that made the shit just.
Yeah. I mean, that's real.
Like do we be complicit in like
Robert.
Yeah, like literal robbery.
Yeah.
And not to get too deep, but that there are reflections of that in the black community as a whole.
Of course,
Of just
that's a fact.
that kind
That's
of
a fact.
approach to life. Like,
Yeah, like I said, I understand it on the business side of it, but just coming from the creative, the producer of me, and like, I appreciate the process.
All right, so I have like super mixed feelings on this. I don't think I land squarely on either side of this conversation. Who was Anon said, what about samples from Sims? We're going to get to that, my guy. Big shout out to Anon, you know what I'm saying? It's an app holder too. Big shout out to him. He's also helping me figure out some things in the app. Big shout out to all my beta testers, by the way, if you peeping in.
Let's go.
If you helping make the app a better place, man, thank you. We working on that every day, literally every day. But back to the topic, you know what I'm saying? Man. Okay, so I'm gonna start off by saying this. I think to some extent, I agree with everything that's been said, right? So you have the resident OG and LJ, you know what I'm saying? Who is like, nah, man, back in the day, you know what I'm saying? And I understand and respect that, I do think that, a big part of hip hop culture, it wasn't just what you did to a sample. It you know what I'm saying? It was also the fact that you found it.
The journey.
Yeah, I mean, it was. In my top 10 is Madlib. The number one thing Madlib brags about is what he's willing to do to get dope samples, how far he travels to get dope samples, and the fact that a lot of samples that you've heard in popular, a lot of times people heard it first from Madlib. You know what I'm saying? And so, we can't act like that's not a part of the puzzle. And so if people are upset at that part of the puzzle not being respected, then you got to respect those people, because that's always been a part of hip hop culture, right? And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be people moving on and moving forward. I'm just saying there are stakeholders in that portion of hip hop culture. If they're mad, then they're mad, and I understand it. You know what I'm saying?
it's what made it valuable.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Then there's the other side of it, where it's like, at the end of the day, man, you know what I'm saying? Like we're guys with a whole bunch of samples moving stuff around, right? 20 years before we were doing this, you had to have a band. You know what I'm saying? You had to have a band. You had to have something to record that band and edit it. And now I'm over here playing piano, strings, drums, all kind of stuff without having learned any of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so, so when you say things like, what is doing the work, I think that that's a phrase, or that's something that, the definition of that is going to change over time, right? There's always going to be somebody who's not going to value the new version of doing the work. And there's also going to be somebody who doesn't value the old way of doing the work, right? That's always going to happen. To me, it doesn't make sense to get caught up in that debate, because that debate is going to live on forever. Now I will get a little bit real with it, though. The best thing I ever did in my career as a producer was learn how to make music without samples.
Yeah.
Now I say that with hesitancy, because my favorite music is making music with samples. Without a doubt, you know what I'm saying? But to make sure that all the stuff that I made money off of don't come back to bite me in the ass, some 10 years later or 2 years later,
thanks.
I had to learn how to not only make music that wasn't sampling, but to make music that sounded like I was sampling, right? And that's a skill that I can say took a legit 3 or 4 years to learn. Like, I mean, in terms of like texturing and knowing how to treat music to make it sound like you got it from a record or from something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, with that being said, and now let's get specifically to the topic at hand. Who sampled, right? Sometimes you get so good at that, right, that who sampled thinks you sampled something you didn't.
Facts.
That's something that happens. In fact, it happened to me. If y'all go to Who Sampled right now, go to WhoSampled.com. Look up I Make Mad Beats.
Pull up the app.
Yeah. Look up I Make Mad Beats. They're going to say I sampled, what is that, Steve Miller Band? Space Intro. Ironically, Space Intro, right? Coincidentally, they're going to say I sampled Space Intro for a song called I Bet featuring Von P. Right? No, I didn't. It don't even sound like that.
Was,
Twisted Heart.
It don't even sound like that. I played it on a Nord. You know what I'm saying? Like electro.
yo, what's funny is how they put the timestamp joint in there. They be like multiple elements.
And that's another issue. That's another issue with it too. For me, is like,
but hold on, time out. Hold on, before you spoke, my guy.
You good? You
know
good?
what I'm saying? You spoke. now, before we go any further on that, imagine if Steve Miller Band people came at me.
Yep. Yep.
Imagine that.
That's some money too. Just to say no, it's gonna cost you a bag. Just to be like, this ain't true. Just to prove that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So when you ask, like, all right, you know, I think there's the obvious where it's like, is it you know, is it right or wrong, right? Is it the obvious discussion or the surface level discussion is like, all right, should we be saying where samples came from or not, right? The way I look at it is a little bit different. Like, who are we giving the authority to say that?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right? Like, we making these people the police. Yeah. They made a website. And that's it. And they just have people start uploading stuff. And all of a sudden, now you giving people reason to say you did something you didn't do. Mm-hmm. And if it happened to me, I can't imagine who else it's happened to. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so that's my problem with it. It's not like, I mean, the whole like, yes, sample snitching is a thing. There's a whole culture against that. But then at the same time, it's like, you know, again, things progress, new things happen, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just saying, like, yo, the people behind that, right? Like, I hope y'all are like God. I hope y'all are like AI level detecting this shit. Because if y'all are just going by ear, man.
Yeah, and that's where it's going. In terms of the AI situation, but that's a hell of a perspective. Yeah. Because if it happened to you, like you gotta know it's been some lawsuits, you know, for the like people that own like that everybody knows.
That's how you get into a Marvin Gaye situation where it might be that same situation where now you didn't sample it, and then niggas might be like, but it feel like
that itself is crazy. The fact that you get sued off of a feeling, bro, that's
a wild statement.
Multiple elements.
Multiple elements, my guy.
Multiple elements, volume 3, you know what I'm saying?
That's crazy. Bro, how did you find that out, though? Did you just look yourself up?
I can't remember. Somebody sent it to me. I can't remember. It was like over 10 years ago, you know what I'm saying? Somebody just sent it to me, and I was just like, man, like, you know, on one end, I was proud of myself. I was like, you know what? I told myself I was going to learn how to make music that sounded like a sample. And I guess I did it so well that I'm getting called out for this, you know what I'm saying? But it was at that moment I was just like, all right, there are deeper issues with this website than just, you know, should it exist? Like, you know.
Yeah. The culture of sample revealing. I mean, it's a whole like subject. That's what people wake up and do. And they're you know, music anthropologists. They just like to dig up like the history of it all. And, you know, some people would say it's a legit art form. People put in work, you know what I'm saying, to make this information available to people who are interested. You know what I mean? Because it's not just, I mean, we talk about it from the producer perspective, but music fans love this information. This is it's the same psychology of why you want to watch an interview or see your favorite producer in the studio.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you want to get as much of the story of the thing you love as possible.
Right.
And so I feel like that's a beautiful thing. And a part of me is just like, I think it's not the only reason, but the main reason it's a problem is because at the end of the day, most of the time we don't like it because we're doing something illegal. And we're really just not trying to get that fire on us. You know what I mean? And
yeah, I just try to. I think I can't remember who mentioned it before, or which one of you mentioned it. But like, I just try to look at it as simply as this, man. Like, it's okay to break the rules if you understand you might get caught breaking the rules. Yeah. That's the name of the game. That's
you selling drugs.
That's it. Yeah. Exactly. Like you can't be mad when you get arrested if you were selling drugs. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's how I look at it. And on the other end, man, like imagine the jump around sample. Whoever was the original band that played that, like imagine if you lived in like Peru or something and you never heard that song. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then you find out like mad years later, like wow, millions of dollars were made off my music. Like
that's crazy. Yeah. And them niggas be broke. Like them niggas
absolutely.
Do y'all know of Chubby Checker?
Yeah.
Okay, Chubby Checker, that was the sample. And this was revealed in the interview.
I ain't never heard of Chubby Checker. That shit is hilarious.
I didn't even know that.
You know what I'm saying?
That's who the sample came from? Is it the one nigga? Or is it the band?
I don't know. It's one nigga's the face.
I don't want it to get too deep. But Chubby Checker is fucking hilarious.
Chubby Checker. And yeah, I don't know how much money he's making because, first of all, I ain't never really heard of him until what I'm about to say.
Oh wow.
His stuff is on a lot of his stuff is on TrackLib. And the stuff I be listening to, like I downloaded a few, and honestly, I thought it was one of those artists that just never really made it. You know what I'm saying? He might be he might be out here. I just could be. Right. But just the way it sounded, I was like, oh, this must be one of them indie situations, especially for the catalog that he had on there to be, on the lower side. Because they got like Isaac Hayes and all kind of stuff on there, but that's like the upper level, clearance fee joints. So I just figured it was just like a jump. So when I heard it was a Chubby Checker joint, I like without doing too much research, I just kind of assumed he wasn't really making that much bank off of his money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He made Jingle Bell Rock.
The Christmas song?
Chubby Checker, he's an American singer and dancer. He is widely known for popularizing many dance styles, including the twist dance style.
Hold on, time out. We gotta take a second to acknowledge what just happened, bro. Simply because kid had never heard of this man, he thought he was a failure. He thought he had no success, bro. I don't know who this man is, so he probably did something he didn't make it. He probably had so much success, bro. So the world is if you don't know him, then he just not successful.
I heard of him on TrackLib, and the music I heard was not millions of dollars of success sounding music. That's really what I'm saying.
This man, come on, bro.
I'm gonna play out a record. And y'all can be like, you wouldn't assume this is one of the most successful artists of all time. Like,
Chubby Checker.
Where's a different Chubby Checker?
Bro said, I never heard of him. He was a failure of an artist.
I'm just saying the stuff I did hear was like,
damn.
I mean, I can see why you would take this opportunity.
He 82 years old. That man, 82 years old.
Money, nigga. Yeah. C-Maze kind of hated on him on the low too. I'm probably broke. Damn,
that nigga broke. Them niggas do be broke. And that nigga might have made a lot of money back then, but it's 2020.
Times are hard. It's coming back. That shit done went into
inflation. Inflation crazy.
All right, so before we move on,
The
though,
nigga named Chubby Checker though. I'm definitely hating on this. That's crazy as fuck, bro.
I guess they called him that because of his face. His face was chubby as fuck.
Bro, Chubby
I thought it
Checker
was
is
because
wild.
How we hating on this nigga? Hold on, bro. Hold on. Hey, yo, Chubby Checker, yo, salute, man. I'm showing you love. Off top. Get these dudes, man. Yo, you a legend, and it's an honor, my. You know what I'm saying? Salute.
bro, I'm gonna show y'all these Chubby Checker jumps off track. This got to be a different person.
No.
Nigga not bumming.
Anyway, but before we move on,
Checker.
I do want to hear y'all opinion in this whole jump around situation. Right, we just discussed the nuances of who sampled, and just kind of been like, all right, it sucks to like, it sucks for the idea of putting the people that you look up to in jeopardy. But at the same time, it's like we also be holding the people we look up to for doing bad shit, which is how we get R. Kelly situation. You know what I mean? It's not as severe as that, but it's still causing harm. I'm saying Snapple Snitchin is a way of
Man,
holding
brought in R.
people
Kelly
who-
to the Who Sampled debate.
Where we go?
What's going on?
Chubby Checker.
I don't know what's going on.
I'm saying, what I'm
Hey, yo,
saying
we might need a
is-
commercial break. Let's get our story straight. We'll be back.
what I'm saying.
Yo, they snitching on the samples the same way they snitched on Kelly.
That's a wild comparison, bro.
Yo, what the matter is, bro? There's a lot of snitches out here.
What
you
I'm
know
saying
I mean?
is, like, niggas was looking up to him, but niggas had to be held accountable for doing some illegal shit. You know what I mean?
Wow, bro.
Drastic left to bring that shit back home. That was a drastic ass left. That shit right
The
there.
sliders in your brain are crazy,
Bro, I don't even know what's going on.
bro. What's the shit? You be parallel or some shit.
Multi-core processing, bro. My man said, yo, it's
Correlate.
similar to a neighborhood in Yemen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's eerily the same.
You be correlating, bro. You be correlating for sure.
You know what I mean? It's just what it is. But anyway, what I was gonna say is, all right, we talked about all we talked about, but are we gonna villainize the lawyer that searched that shit out, looking for the come up?
I ain't mad at the lawyer. I'm not even mad at the lawyer. That's a crazy hustle.
That's your job.
That's his job.
That's a crazy hustle.
That's his job.
That's a
You know what I'm
crazy
saying?
hustle.
Like, I mean, you gave him a reason to do his job. Like, that's his job.
Like for one,
I respect
But that nigga kind of weak though.
I'm
That nigga kind of weak though. Like that's some real snitching ass shit.
And
He doing his job.
And here's some nuance to it too that might just add something. He had never before that tried a case.
Oh hell!
That was his first day.
That's crazy.
That's what it was made to imply, that he ain't never tried a case. So the amount of money that they ended up having to pay probably would have been more if they had a more experienced lawyer. Because he was saying because he was new to it, they were able to be aggressive with him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
how
saying?
pissed off I would be if
And then he only got him like what $900K back from the whole thing because he had to pay $300K 3 times.
Well, he said it was $600K, but I don't know how much the lawyer got off of winning that. You know what I
I'm
mean?
just saying, as the producer, like that's your first case and you finna snitch and like fuck them up, bro. Who the fuck? Like,
Hey, but hold on, though.
I'm
Hold on.
saying, if you're trying to get
Hold
your
on,
name out there as a person that can get you money,
They can do this.
that
Why
can represent
why go
artists and
nit-
get you paid.
but
But why go nitpicking on that?
Bro,
But
this shit,
how do you get your client?
this shit been done.
If you don't go say I'm available and can get you
Bro,
paid,
go do some new shit. My shit been done.
Like what?
I don't know, my nigga. I didn't live my whole life, bro.
So
And
we
then
do
you gonna-
villainize him.
He's straight Bill Cosby.
I understand the hustle for sure, but a nigga
producer-
can't not say that shit ain't weak.
Hey,
It's
hold
like-
on.
That's like a nigga did all his homework, nigga.
Hold on, let me ask you this though. Okay, first of all, like it's hilarious to try to hold lawyers to hood culture. Yo, he's snitching or not? He's a lawyer. Like, what do you
his job.
that's
job
number one.
description.
Number two, hold on. Are we villainizing the lawyer when somebody samples your stuff? And then they find it, and then they're like, "Yo, C Mage, I can get you $1 million off this, off top."
He like, fuck, I fuck with it, but I'm gonna be like, I fuck with it. I'm gonna give my money to it. I'm gonna shake the nigga hand. I'll be like, hey, that shit was slick weak as hell. But you gave me my money, bro.
Gonna be my shit.
Appreciate it, my nigga. But
You be like, yo, you wild, bro.
yeah, you wild. Give me my money, though.
Appreciate you. Though. You wild as hell. You wild as hell. I appreciate it.
Hey, you did that shit. You went in there. I ain't even know they took me. I wasn't tripping about it, but since it's here, I'm gonna.
I can't leave it on the table. I got a family to take. Come on,
You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
I'm gonna tell this to my wife.
Like, this weekend nigga found me some money.
You fixed the situation, bro. When they ain't tripping about that little money, but shit, I'm gonna take it.
It's the principle. It's the
He ain't asked me for this shit.
Damn, bro.
That's
I
crazy.
just think it's interesting. It's somebody out there waiting to catch you up. You know what I mean? Somebody's literally. It's a hungry young lawyer.
That's crazy.
Saying, you know, I gotta figure this shit out.
Yeah.
For real.
I know these niggas don't be.
Yo, imagine if that lawyer had like the bill. You know how when you drive around the streets,
Yeah, the little accident.
them just like tripped and fell. Call 1-800 blah blah blah. What if it was like you been sampled and didn't, and nobody got paid? Call this number. Like those lawyers could make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Bro, that's
We just aggressively go after these niggas, especially with the technology where it is now. I'm telling you, this AI shit has made it,
it's fucking
then
shit up.
switched it up.
Yeah.
Yo, do we need to open up a legal department?
Nah, cause I'm good. Maybe y'all.
he said I make my own shit. I'm good. I make my shit.
I'm saying to go get these samples. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? We need to get us a young lawyer, bring in some old money. You know what I
We
mean?
got Gabby.
That's right.
Gabby, she,
That's facts.
Oh,
send
Hey
her out
Gabby,
there.
what up? You know what I'm saying?
She really be on
Let's get this
detective
popping,
shit,
man.
too.
We got
Yeah.
For real though, Gabby the truth.
yeah. That's a whole other sector of unapologetic. We got to set up.
Damn, we
Unapologetic
got snitches
law.
on the squad.
Man, that's
We got-
unapologetically snitching. You know what I'm saying?
Money, nigga.
on behalf of artists, we stand with artists. You know what I mean?
We stand with artists.
Cause somebody gonna
Stand with artists. You can't
somebody gonna lose.
You'll be like,
stand with artists. All right, damn. Who sampled? All right, I guess it is what it is. It's so not going nowhere, but
Nah,
you know what I mean. I just never really considered like.
You gotta delete the app off your phone.
oh, you snitching, bro.
Part of
My
the part of the problem. Nigga,
I'm a snitch app, bro.
If you go to the app store and type in snitching, who sample is gonna pop up at the top?
Bro, dang, that's great.
that's great. He gonna own that.
And I think it's just wild. You can just really contribute it. You know what I'm saying? You can see contributed by.
you see the nigga that
So you can see the nigga that called you out, bro.
crazy,
Nigga
bro.
named Iceland. You know what I mean?
Word?
I even gonna find that nigga.
We gotta find this nigga, man. Hey, hold on. Man, we know who you are, fam. You know what I'm saying? We coming. Hey, we gonna find you, my G.
We got
Salute.
the NPC. We got the
We got
NPC
all.
project to show you, nigga. Ain't no samples in that shit.
Damn. So we can go look up who contributed
hey,
that.
this dude right here.
That's what I'm saying.
Dude right here calling me out, trying to get me messed up in the game, fam. I ain't paying nothing. I ain't paying for nothing. I played that. You heard me? What's my man name? Severe 90
Out in Iceland, bro.
out in Iceland. That's all right.
pull up
We got
there and
airplanes.
shit.
We got airplanes.
Cold ass nigga.
Actually, Iceland, I think it's the warm giant. That's the green giant. It's the Greenland is
Yeah,
the
like the
Iceland.
opposite. That shit weird to me, but yeah.
It's weird.
Nah, it's no way Iceland is warm, my G. I don't care what the actual weather say. I don't care about none of that.
He said
That nigga trying to tell me Iceland and I ain't get full of ice. That nigga's tripping.
Bro, don't tell the man. Look at this man profile. He look like he owns some
That
money.
can't
We
be
trying to
him.
get some money, exactly. But that's his representation. It's not him, but that's his mindset. You know what I mean?
That's Chubby Checker?
No.
Damn.
Oh.
Shout out my nigga Chubby. Check it.
Damn.
That's
Bro, you
crazy.
the one that looked up the picture of Chubby
I
Checker.
did.
Like,
And you look light skin like us.
bro, it's a white
That's
man.
crazy. Oh man, hold up.
Wait, bro, this is a white man.
Shout out everybody in the chat, man. Big shout out Nikita who was just here. Big shout out my man Sonny. Big shout out Joel. You know what I'm saying? What we got being said? Iceland ain't full of ice. You know what I'm
Y'all
saying?
crazy.
Period.
Y'all crazy.
Bruh.
Y'all niggas clearly ain't never been to Iceland, fool.
No, clearly you've never read what the name of Iceland.
Like, what would they name?
Like I'm saying, if Even if it ain't ice, whatever is there is ice. The name of the place. Hold on, think about that. That's like saying there's places in America that's not America. It's called Iceland. Even if it's green grass and 70 degrees, that's ice, my G. The name of the spot is Iceland.
Land of ice, bro.
The land of ice.
Come on, bro. It's cold as
Let's
hell.
be logical, man.
It's cold year round on some Alaska shit, bro. They don't get no sun.
They might not. It's definitely in Europe. So
Oh, some Alaska shit.
Iceland ain't got no ice. They got green grass.
I don't believe that.
Y'all niggas.
Nah, fuck with y'all.
I don't believe that. Hey, we be saying this conspiracies and all that. That's a conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe that. That's fake news.
fake news, bro. Greenland is full of ice. That's green, nigga.
They said, "No, I ain't trying to hit
What's
it."
the weather in Iceland right now? 29. Come on, y'all niggas is tripping, bro. Niggas said Iceland don't get cold. Y'all wild,
It's
bro.
winter.
Come on, dog.
Still ain't winter.
That's their temperature year round.
Year round, even in the summer.
People will believe anything.
Anything, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Are
Iceland
y'all
ain't
looking up
ice.
the facts for yourselves? Bro?
You gotta do the research.
You gotta go over there. You gotta
You
go
gotta
over
be
there.
like that lawyer.
You gotta do your own
You gotta go
research.
find your shit, bro. You gotta go find out.
That's a legendary. We gotta interview him.
Bro.
We gotta get him on Type B.
You gotta get him and Muggs together.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, beat that nigga.
Maybe sue him, bro. That's the worst nigga to try to beat. It's a lawyer, nigga.
Man, you sue it again.
They trying to come for the rest of that money.
Oh man, that's
Bro, can you imagine how bad he probably want to whoop dude's ass, bro? You put them in the same room together.
That's tough.
that's a hustle though.
He
Like
probably was in the same room together when they was doing all the settlements and stuff, all the negotiations.
Like, damn, bro.
Right.
Ambulance chaser.
Can't go get no Travis Scott.
Man, it's
shit,
almost
bro.
3. What's the next topic, man?
oh damn.
We over here talking about Iceland? What's going on?
It's cold out here.
Alright, the nerd portion of this, man, compression.
Let's get it.
Compression.
Nerds
compression,
unite.
Compression. I wish I could remember that. The engineer.
If you're not a nerd, listen up so you can become one.
not a nerd.
Yeah, this for all my engineers, my up-and-coming engineers, my seasoned engineers.
Man.
Next topics for you,
What?
LJ. What we talking about?
When we started with this, compression, the do's, the don'ts, what you love about it, what you don't.
Are there do's and don'ts?
Man,
I don't think so. I don't think so. All right, let me start this out. Let me start this out. All right. I've been learning and watching people learn this game for over 20 years. And one thing I'll say is the most like, I understand it, but I don't really understand it thing that's said is people talking about compression. I honestly feel like 1 in 20 people who ever talk about audio compression know exactly what the fuck they're talking about. I don't think most people even understand. I think they got some presets or they saw something in a YouTube video and they feel like, okay, this successfully worked, but I don't think they truly understand what is happening or when and how to use different approaches to compression. And so like I was talking to a kid the other day and I was like, man, I really want to have an in-depth discussion on like, how do you use compression? Like how do you find how you want to compress something? Like what is going into the decisions of like, okay, I want to compress this like this, or I want to use this kind of compressor, or I don't want to compress this, right? Like, you know, if I would ask y'all, you know, how do you guys approach that?
Man, so for me, I think so. I find myself using compression in, I would say four junts. The 4 main junts most often. First is drums, and I'm mostly reaching for a compressor for punch on drums, right? The second way is vocal tracking.
Hold on a second. Let's get real detailed here, right? When you say punch, what do you mean?
Okay, so when I want
Okay.
when I want that transient master sound on drums, how would I achieve that without reaching for a transient master?
And that presents another question. Why would you use a compressor rather than a transient master?
Okay, my first for me,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. It's
Let's get
two
it.
reasons.
Okay.
One, because I heard you say in the beginning, if you don't know how to use compression, Transient Master is the way to go.
Right.
And two, now that I got the Ableton Push 3, you know what I mean?
Here we go. Every episode.
Use Transient.
I can't just pull up the Native Instruments Transient Master.
Okay.
I have to figure out a way to
Yeah.
kind of get that sound without it.
Yeah.
And so I know that compression is the way to do it. So I just feel like I just wanted to learn how to do it. In terms of when I do or don't, man, I'm trying to. It's very much an intuition kind of jump. Like it's like I think I practiced it, got used to the sound, and then now it's like a very split subconscious kind of decision. Like in the moment, I can hear this texture, and there's a plug-in kind of associated with it. Transient Master just sounds different.
Yeah.
Than when you make it more punchy via compression.
Yeah.
And so I make that decision because I familiarize myself with the sound. And so now it's like it would be similar in like asking when do you use a Whirly versus a Rhodes. Like in the moment it's just kind of like you just intuitively know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you try it and maybe that wasn't the right decision. And so you do your other options that's in that similar vein. Right, but it's just like you got the drums. You just kind of hear it. So I know that particularly wasn't that scientific. But when I'm doing that, one of the things I like to do when I'm using compression on drums specifically is because I was one of those people that had a hard time hearing compression, especially subtle compression. Right, when it comes to like true, like when it's not an effect. Is what I find myself doing is like I'll be like, yo, how do I know how to set the attack and release on these drums? So what I like to do is I like to set like some settings. I set like an attack where it is, and I set the release, and I turn the compression way up. So the threshold goes way down. So it's like super heavy. And for me, that allowed me to hear, which for drums is like how much of the transient is coming through, because that's the part I'm emphasizing, right? When I turn it back up. So I turn it super down. I turn the threshold way down to drive the compression super hard, so I can hear like how much of the top of this drum hit is coming through, right?
Yep.
And then I'm listening. Then I set the release, and I'm listening to like how quickly does it jump back? Like how much of the pump am I getting? Right. Once I set that on the super hard jump, I just back the jump way back down, and then make up the gain, and that's how I get that like the punch. So that's how I train myself to hear it, because and now and once you familiarize yourself, it's like okay, then you realize okay, if you want it to be more punchy, you probably want to use a slower attack, because you're letting more of the transient through. And so you just kind of understand that. But like turning everything way up to where it's like not usable, I feel like allows you to hear what it's doing. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's my approach with compression on drums. And then like with other stuff, like with vocal tracking, I use it mainly a lot of times for vocal tracking. And honestly, bro, like it's to make it like just make it feel more thick and smooth. Like like if you want a lubed vocal,
hey, yo, commercial break.
Yeah, man. Speak on it, brother.
Speak on it.
No.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Tell him.
I like a nice lube vocal,
you know
brother.
what I mean? A lube,
Let's talk about it.
you know what I mean? Anyway, it came from, honestly, bro, this stuff came from just hearing other people do it. Like, I never forget Assistant Mad in some of the earlier Dirty Sock sessions.
Yeah.
And hearing somebody yelling in the booth, hitting the compressor on the 610 and being like, yo, this is like usable. It's not like too loud and it's not like distorted. It just feels nice. I was like, oh, this is a feeling I'm that makes me want to explore this more. You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, I'm just throwing compressors on all these vocals now just to see if I can get something similar. So now I find that I use 2 compressors. One to catch like the peaks of people yelling when I'm tracking in. And then the other, I use something like a LA2A or LA2A, like the gray jut, to make it feel like more solid. So it's just a more full feeling vocal. You know what I mean? And I know for me, when I've experimented, because I like to get on the mic and hear like what I'm putting the artist through when I'm trying out new compression settings. So I'll get on and it's like, oh, this makes me, as a person who's self-conscious about their voice, oh, this makes me feel more confident, more like, okay, I can do something. Or I could be more subtle with how I use my voice. Right. So I use a combination of 2 compressors. And that's like, those are like the main jumps. And then obviously sidechain compression, that's a whole other jump. But, I don't know. That's like my thought process with like the utility of compression most of the time.
This is gonna be an interesting discussion.
Yeah.
Do you parallel? Like, do you find yourself using parallel compression?
Yes. When I want, so I'm always chasing like some. I really love distortion. Like I love distortion and saturation.
I've never met somebody who loves distortion more than Kid Maestro. Never.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we throwing decimal on the master.
On the master.
You know what I mean? So, but I be doing, I be doing regular stuff like I'll drive the whole beat on a compressor. You know what I'm saying? Just with the super fast release, right? Because I learned that when you drive a compressor hard and you got a really fast release, somehow it just distorts it. Like it's just doing something to it, and it gives it that sound. So when I'm doing stuff like that, I feel like that's usually when I'm using parallel, or like with a like a delicate overall sound, like some folk or something like that, where the dynamics of the vocal performance specifically kind of are part of the story, right? But you got these other elements. Vocal parallel compression on the vocals is usually helpful. So you got like a more on another track or on the return or whatever, so something more that you could just fill in. You know what I'm saying, and make it there, but you still hear the rising and falling. For those of you who don't know what parallel compression is when you
also known as
New York style compression.
There you go.
Is when you
No, bro, keep going. I'm just gonna tell you how I'm coming with compression. Just keep going. Just keep going, bro.
It's when you, instead of putting a compressor on directly on the track, you put it on a copy of that track, and you compress it more aggressively than you normally would, and then you mix that signal in with the uncompressed sound, and you find the balance that you feel works. So you can get some of the benefits and the fullness of a compressed signal and preserve the dynamics of the original performance.
Yeah, I fuck with it. Let me tell you, whatever this nigga man was talking about at the beginning, the niggas that don't know shit about, I'm that nigga. I am 100%. If y'all just heard all this shit and don't know what the fuck they talking about, it sound like Spanish to y'all. Like, let's shake hands, bro. But nah, when I first started coming around here, this shit was really wild to me. I feel like I got a better grasp on it now. But I also think compression is one of those things like it's one of those journeys that never ends. Like you're always going to be learning new things about it, new techniques, and figuring out new ways to do and all that shit. So that knowing that really helped me land on like, all right, bet I'm not as far off as I thought I was. Like it's like, damn, this shit is just never ending. Like you think you understand it, then you get with then I get with mad like it is. Then you get to a brower or whatever, you watch a video and you're like, this is so it's just a level that keeps going. But man, I remember some of the first like just recording sessions that I was in, and Mad would be behind me and the 16 would be going fucking crazy, like the shit going crazy, and man, like nigga, you don't hear that?
Bro, I was just gonna say, you don't hear that? You don't hear
You know the shit be. You hear the shit clicking. You hear the motherfucking the arrow start clicking and shit, man. Like nigga, you don't hear that? I'm like, well, here what? Like he distorted like a motherfucker. As soon as he say distortion, yeah, you just hear that shit. You be like, damn, bro. The whole song, nigga, the whole song on 10, bro. Man. This nigga done let me do the whole session. And then just, all right, nigga, let me step in.
Now we gotta make it sound like it's supposed to sound.
Right? And then the nigga hit you with the, all right, let me see right here. That shit used to be, man, you be so fucking embarrassed, bro. You nigga come out the booth and this is mad sitting there and not you no more.
That be the take too. That be the take. I be like, oh yeah, I feel good about that one. Damn.
He's just in the corner.
Let's get one more from me.
Hey, yeah, let's run that back. I just heard
That's my fault. That's my fault.
Some engineer shit. I just want to hear.
You might have to do a double, you know.
Man, you might have to do a double.
Nah, bro, niggas be sitting in the corner having to spectate and shit. Nah, like I feel like I use compression really like for problem areas. I rarely use compression on some like creative or color, and even if it is, I'm not like using the compressor. I'm really just putting it on it and like, you know, it might do like a little bit, but I'm rarely doing like, all right, let me like all this shit you talking about. Like I do that shit in MPC. Like on some, if my drums ain't coming out of MPC already ready, then I'm done. Like I'm done for it. Like if I gotta fix some shit, and I ain't gonna say I'm done for. I feel like I can figure it out. But if I gotta fix some shit in Pro Tools after the fact, that's not gonna be a happy session, bro. I'm an impatient producer. I might be an even more impatient mixing engineer. Like I really don't be trying to like spend a lot of time on shit. Like I be frustrated when my shit don't be loading up quick. You know, I be having an idea in my head, or even if I don't gotta have the idea in my head, I be wanting to put shit down and it feel good automatically, and then I want to move on to the next thing, like the next problem area. And so I'm rarely thinking of compression in a creative way. I just started getting into like multiband and compressing like frequencies and shit like that. But all this shit is like my theory on compression is I make mad beats theory on compression. Like this nigga gave me his mixing template like what, years ago. That is, I used it every mix you've heard. If it was trash, it was me. Every good mix you heard, this nigga mad mix that shit. But if it was trash, I fucked it up. But every good shit you heard, this nigga like I don't be like. And I feel like I feel like I got to a point in the last couple of years where I just really got like impatient with like trying to learn and grow, and it might be, I ain't gonna say it might be, it probably is to my detriment. Like at one point I was like, damn, let me find out everything I need to know, let me find out about ratio, let me find out about all this shit. Now I just want to do some shit and be done and have a great song and shit. And I like the like organics. I like the organic way it happens. I like the way shit be fucked up sometimes, and I can't explain why, or you know, it just sounds like I like those type of elements too. And so I be in my bag like that. But like as far as like really getting deep on this shit, like I super respect, and I love like sitting in on them conversations. Like it reminds me of when I first came around and y'all niggas would sit and talk about shit like this, and I would really be like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like I would really go home and like sit in my room and be like, all right, nigga, what just happened, bro? Just cross my ass up. And but at least now I feel better now that I can at least I be knowing what y'all talking about. I just be like, oh yeah, I just do it a different way, or I just go from that happens at a different stage in my process and shit like that. And just like sampling, I can just listen to what y'all saying, and I can actually go and try this shit now. Like, and do this shit if I so choose to.
Yeah, I think for me it's like a combination of both of y'all's. Especially now, but when I first started, you know, just being on some like, oh man, I got all the, and of course it was waves. I got all these waves off of the. I used to just be throwing compression on because honestly, I couldn't hear it that well. But it was one of them things I used to just watch everything like everybody, all the top engineers, compression. I'm like, all right, what is it? Right. And it wasn't until like I'm mixing the session, I'm like, bro, these vocals sound trash. So like that's what really made me like have to sit down and at least learn what it's doing, because I used to definitely over process that shit. But I used to have to be like, yo, hey man, let's re-record this. I used to hate having to hit artists up. Also like, man, can we re-record or whatever? Because that's on my part. But to me, it just felt like I wasn't doing my service properly. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. If I didn't at least know it to that degree to get clean takes and vocals and stuff. But I definitely be on the end on some like when I should just smack the needle just going crazy. Like I've been there. It's like I've been there. I don't know. I think more so now I am more in a creative space with it.
Yeah.
To where like I'm not as technical as I used to be. It's very much so like how does it feel? With each artist is different. But yeah, I mean that's just where I'm at with it. Like I use it most, I say, on vocals because a lot of time as a producer, as you said, like I'm trying to, it should sound this way when it comes out type shit.
Yeah, I find myself too like doing a lot of. I look at numbers, like that's how I know I'm not like really listening to what's going on and like grasping. Because I be looking at like, all right, how much am I taking off? What do I need to make up to get it back to the? I be really doing math with this shit, and that's how I know like I need to like really just go in and listen and hear what this shit
I
doing.
used to be, and that's what it was like. I used to think that okay, it has to do this with each one. Like the compression has to be at this ratio, it has to hit this, and then it was times when I had to learn like you can't do that same approach with every artist because you have some artists that are super quiet and you have some that are super dynamic and they like my boy Boulevard. When we first started recording, that man used to be yelling every fucking everything, and he'd tell you it's been plenty of time like, bro, we gotta re-record. But in the moment I'm just like, yo, this shit sound crazy, but then I'm going back trying to mix it, I'm like, bro, why these vocals sound like this? And it was just that process of understanding like you can't treat every artist the same, every session isn't the same. So I had to learn that shit. I like forced myself to do it because I was losing money. Because especially in that sense, because like if I'm going to invite you back and be like, yo, we gotta I'm not going to charge you for the session. That's my fault.
Fucked up. You got to pay for another.
That's crazy. So and it just got to that point where like, man, I'm tired of having to, and then sometimes I ain't gonna lie, it was with artists like because I care about the music, the final product so much. It was with some artists that like I probably didn't even care about that song. I was ready for that session to be over with, but it was like I fucked up. I had to bite the bullet on that, so I was like, I have to get better at this.
Yeah, man. Let me just start off by saying this. I'm pretty sure I can mix a whole song using only compressors.
That's crazy.
Like, I feel like compression is the matrix. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, shout out to, its close partner in crime, EQ. Mm-hmm. But compression is the matrix for me. I find that if because that's when you're mixing, right? When you're mixing a song, like, the number one thing, no matter what direction you're taking it in, you're trying to control the direction it goes in, right? And there's nothing more controlling over time than compression, right? And so the master of knowing how to control things over time is mastering mixing, in my opinion. And, I know that there are like, there are some, maybe surface, like, all right, front door to compressing stuff, which is like, compressing your drums, compressing your vocals, things like that. But, man, I'll go ahead and say, man, like, some compressors they just affect tone differently, right? Especially once you begin to understand the differences between, maybe a discrete or even like an optical compressor, or, once you understand, I was wanting to see if you guys were going to take it there, if you're willing to go in and talk about mid-side compression, right? If you're talking about multi-band compression, and just all the ways that compressors can show up and the ways you can affect sound with a compressor. I don't even want to go through how many ways I use compression because we don't have enough time. You know what I'm saying?
Electrical with this shit.
I mean, anybody who ever seen a Pro Tools session of mine, I don't just use a compressor. I use very specific compressors for very specific reasons, right? There's a lot of different reasons to pull out a compressor, and then there are a lot of compressors that are versatile, and then there are some compressors that aren't, but specialize in very specific things, and they do them amazingly. And so, that's why I don't just have a whole bunch of, crazy UAD plugins or whatever. I have a few hardware compressors as well that are kind of polar, in terms of usage. But I love using them on whether through tracking or in the mix. I love using them for a variety of different reasons. I have a channel strip, LA610, made by Universal Audio. It's got an EQ on it, a compressor, and a preamp on it. And so the most obvious use for that is through recording vocals. But I've definitely run like kicks through it, because I'm purposely trying to hit the tube in it, and then I'm not really trying to get much peak reduction on it, but just a little bit, right? To just give that top end of the kick a specific kind of punch. But I just find that most of the stuff just comes through experimentation. Like you just gotta be having fun exploring compression. You know what I'm saying? And like Kid said is real. You know what I'm saying? It's the same way with EQ. When you sweep EQ, when you're trying to figure out what frequency to remove, you push the EQ all the way up. Right? So that way you can hear exactly what the frequency is doing. And then you might notch it down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You might bring it down to notch out whatever you don't want. But a very good way to start beginning to hear compression is to kind of go ham with it. You know what I'm saying? Like really, really dial in some extreme settings and then begin to ease off of them, and you'll train your ear to understand what's happening more. But like going back to the original question, which was like, why would you use transient master? Why would you use a compressor? For me, the answer is real simple. Transient masters all have a very specific approach to attack and release. And if you want more options on attack and release, you pull out a compressor. If you want a longer time span after you hit that threshold, you know what I'm saying? So if you want that snare to look like a triangle, pull out that transient master. If you want that snare to maybe have a little or maybe a little more of a block, a little bit more of a this versus a tat, you know what I'm saying? Then you pull out a compressor, you know what I'm saying? And another thing y'all did mention, which I thought nobody discussed, limiters, which is just an aggressive compressor, right? It's a 50 ratio, you stop right here scenario, you know what I'm saying?
It's too much, bro. Right now, there's too much to take in. Fam, right now, a limiter is, bro, I'm using this joint, it's called the color limiter in Ableton. Bro, it's so giving me the sound I've been looking for a long time right now. And on some parallel shit, I'm on some dry wet, more so dry wet type vibes. At a 23%, I think what's exciting about it is just that, like, one thing that's inspiring is the story you always tell of watching Michael Brower mix, and how it was like a performance and it was energizing, right? And like, because I think it's a different path because I'm mostly mixing my own productions, and so there's other ways I'm energized and other things I put my energy towards. So I think the rate of improvement of my mixing skills happens similar, like a little bit slower than my rate of like production skills, but it's like kind of all in the same jump. But the goal for me, when you talk about control, is to understand. I would love to understand as many tools as possible, but like a few junts to where you can get to the point where like you can be dancing while you're doing it versus for real. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say this, bro. Like, that's my favorite part of where I am in my career, right? Is that like it has taken a long time, but I know my tools so well that it never feels like a science project now. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you first start hooping, I compare everything to hooping. When you first start hooping, everything is about the mechanics. But like once you get the mechanics down, now you out on the court just dancing. Now you don't even know what you're about to do next. But you're just feeling it out in the motion. In the moment. I love that about where I am, and it's also about making sure that my tools keep me in that zone. That's why I'm not ever going to be like y'all and just be with a laptop mixing with a mouse. I did that. I paid my dues with that. I have many a successful project done like that. But no, like when you have a mixing board,
it makes a difference.
You can dance. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it just makes the whole experience, in particular, automation. Right, it just makes the whole experience much more organic and beautiful. But I truly, man, one thing I want to do on some competitive vibes is I almost want to give to somebody else, like, hey, mix this song. I'm gonna mix the song too, except I'm only gonna use compressors.
When you say that, are you excluding like compressing EQs, like multi-band compressing, or you?
Nah, I'm not. No, I'm counting everything. I'm talking about like whatever shows up in the dynamics section on Pro Tools, all of that.
Okay.
That should be a competition.
That'd be fun. So I got a question though. Where is there something that y'all feel like in the realm of compression that you've got your eye on? It's like, yo, this is something I want to like get better at, like this particular aspect of it.
I want to get better at knowing which compression to use. Like, I'll use certain compressions that don't really give what is needed to be given, and I'll end up fucking the song up in my own ear. And, yeah, I would like to get better with knowing when to use the word.
You know what my advice is for that is, like, before you start, like, all right, do I pull out the LA2A or the 1176 or, do I, this, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Shadow Hills, before you really get into all of that, like just use like the ugliest, most basic compressor.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like whatever is like the default stock compressor for your DAW, you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's the channel strip, the Pro Tools channel strip. Like, just understand that. Like, understand how to use that. Understand like what does attack time do? What does threshold do? What does release do? Right? Understand what a gate is. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Understand all of these things, and something else that I was looking to see if you guys brought it up, because LJ was talking about like whether or not somebody's yelling in the mic or not, right? But the fact of the matter is just that like there are certain frequencies that drive a compressor more than other frequencies, right? So you don't necessarily have to be loud, right? With certain voices, you can just be a huskier voice, the same volume, right? But you have more, maybe 400, 500, 300, you know what I'm saying, in your voice, and you're gonna drive that compressor. And so you gotta figure out, right, the internal side chain. Like, do you want the compressor to be responding to that area or not?
Okay.
Right? Okay. That's a thing that people don't be talking. You know what I'm saying? Like,
do you EQ before or after?
Right. Absolutely. Right. Do you EQ before or after? And if you do it before, why? If you do it after, why? Right. And there are different cases. Like there's reasons to do both. It just depends on what you're aiming at. You know what I'm saying?
I feel that.
Yeah. Like sometimes I do it. Sometimes I'll have like a sample. You know what I'm saying? And like I'll compress it first and then EQ it afterwards. I'll think I want to control it first. And then I'll EQ it. I'll just kind of carve it out a little bit after the compression, because I'll know in my mind, okay, once this is under control, then I want to make some decisions. Sure. You know what I'm saying? And then there's other times where it's like, oh nah, what the bassist did on this it's gonna mess up me trying to compress this. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna kill that off first. I'm gonna drop a high pass, 6 dB, smooth roll off. You know what I'm saying? Make it smooth, sound natural, and then I'm gonna throw a compressor on it.
The biggest way I've learned that is throwing a compressor on the master of a beat.
You be wilding with that though.
Yeah, the member that you talk about, is that on your master?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's dry. It's
I know,
23% wet.
23%. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I don't know. I feel like that's kind of a part of the sound of the people I be liking.
Yeah.
So I'm using that shit.
The niggas that you love be having a lot of distortion too. So.
All right, but what y'all trying to improve it? Like in terms of compression, like is there something like, okay, this is kind of my next?
For me, it's still working with, like, I love mid-side compression, but I do find at times sometimes I overdo it. So it's just more so hearing what it's doing, especially in the mids, like, because of course when it comes to vocals, you want the vocals to take up that space and everything. But I have noticed at times I will overdo it to the point where like I think I've told Matt this before. Like sometimes it sound thin. So that's really what I've been working on, just trying to improve just my ear with that. Because to me, like everyone else, like, oh no, this shit sound crazy, but because of what I'm shooting for, I hear it. And I'm like, I feel it doesn't sound as full, just overall. Because I like I said, the mid side, I just do it too much at times. So that's really what I've been just trying to improve at.
Yeah, I feel like if I wanted to sound like a nerd or a student or whatever, I would probably say something like multi-band, like learning how to compress or learning in like what frequencies is sticking out, and then learning how to attack those. Also mid-side as well. But if I'm really being honest, bro, I think I'm at war with learning right now. Like I think I'm frustrated with the amount of time that I have in my life so much that I'm fighting. Like I'm fighting the thing that I used to love to do. I used to love to learn anything, like about anything. Right now where I'm at in my life, I'm fighting that shit. And I think that stems back to some time shit. So when you ask that question to me right now, it ain't shit I want to learn about compression, like, if I'm being real. But that's the reason. But yeah, that's different. This ain't this type of, this ain't like. So,
I feel
we producers, so this is our life, and we also type beats.
What you trying to learn, kid? You gotta hold the mic up.
For me, is man, we just throw the compressor on it. You know what I mean?
Let's throw the
Bring that shit up.
You know what? Let's throw the compressor on your voice right now. The niggas definitely can't hear you, bro.
I mean, for me, it's the mystery of. So I definitely want to learn how mastering engineers approach compression, but more so, it's like the similar ways I feel like mastering engineers use compression, which is being able to feel like I'm making significant changes. Like sometimes I see people compress stuff and they be having a like 1.8 ratio, like these super subtle parameter settings on the parameters, and a lot of times I just be feeling like, what are you doing? What was the science behind this decision? That's, I feel like that's kind of where I want to get. I want to kind of demystify that, like what is going on, because that's something. While I feel like I understand the concept of compression, so the reason you would put a compressor on almost anything is either tone or control in some sort of way. But like with those subtle of junts, like what made you? How did that make you dance that way? You know what I mean? Where that was your instinct. I think that's what I would love to learn.
It's one of them ear things, man. I be talking to Matt. He be doing something like, bro, how did you hear that? And like just trying to improve in that way, because I feel like a lot of just mixing in general. Of course, it's the feeling, but is your ear trained enough to hear these decisions that would be, or these problems that would be solved with compression? And if your ear isn't trained enough, like you'll end up like me, just overdoing some shit because you think that it's doing that. I lived in that world a lot, so definitely on the just the ear training of hearing compression is one of them other things.
I think like okay, so let me answer the question too. I mean, I don't want to sound cocky, but
My nigga didn't reach the
it's always a lot more to learn.
You just ain't found it.
But I'm just like right now. I like where I am. You know what I'm saying? I like where I am. And you know, it's just it's not. Is there a hallway to go down? It's just, am I trying to go down that hallway right now? You know what I'm saying? You know, but no, I do think, honestly, if I had to just immediately name something, it would just be, I just want to explore as much as I've explored maybe software compressors. I really want to get a Shadow Hills in here. I really want to get a Fairchild in here. You know what I'm saying? And to really understand the difference between the hardware units and the software units in real time. You know what I'm saying? Like I've used those before, but it was too early in my career and not enough to where I want to apply what I know now. And then be like, oh man, now I can hear so much more going on. You know, in particular those two units, because those are really heavy duty, legendary compressors. But yeah, and I also want to say too, man, like if I had to give, you know, just some advice on some of the stuff you guys mentioned, you know, man, you know, I would just say start with, you know, in particular like the subtle stuff, kid, that you were just talking about before. You know, one thing that I wish I had started doing in the beginning that like nobody really told me to do, and I understand why they didn't tell you. When you're mixing, when you're dwelling in audio, every engineer that I was watching and that would ever even dare to give me any kind of advice, they were just like, "Yo, man, it's your ear. Yo, man, it's your ear. Yo, man, it's your ear." You know what I'm saying? You gotta learn how to hear. You gotta blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, all of that is absolutely true, and I would tell that to an intern right now, probably just as much, right? But what I wished when I graduated from like understanding the importance of that, I'm not saying I had learned everything with that, but I had understood the importance with that. I wish somebody had came to me and said, "Yep, it's your ear. Now, there are measurable ways and things you can assign that help you get better with your ear," right? Meaning, right, like everybody here know, you know what I'm saying? Like there was maybe, I don't know, sometime before the pandemic, I started like really surgically trying to understand my own mixes. So I would mix something and be like, all right, this is dope. That's what's up. You know what I'm saying? But I want those results without feeling around in the dark every time. You know what I'm saying? And so I began to realize that there were patterns in mixes that I liked, right? I like when it's this kind of record, oftentimes I like when the snare hits at this total dB. You know what I'm saying? On the master bus. You know what I'm saying? I like when this is hitting here in this specific frequency at this level. And I began to gather plugins and information that would systemize my mix approach, right? They would add numbers to what I was already feeling and doing, right? And I'm wording it that way specifically to say, I was already feeling and doing this. I wasn't making decisions based on numbers. I had already reached successful spaces, and now I was using numbers as a way to record what I had done, right? As a way to systemize it. So now I can go back in and mix and know, all right, well, bet I usually like the snare to hit this loud on the master. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have to just start off blindly and just be like, well, let me see what feels good. Like, I numerically know what I like. And I can apply that also to the foundation of my ears. And so for me, it's like, you know, yes, take the time to get your ears on point. Never just depend on your eyes. You know, this is music, you know what I'm saying? But like, don't be afraid to add other utensils that help measure what your ears are hearing. Because that's what's gonna help you repeat successful, results.
Man, I'm not gonna even lie. Like I have to salute you with that one because before like coming around as much as I am, I wasn't even thinking about like approaching mixing that way. But it makes complete sense, and it definitely makes a difference, and just makes your process more efficient. It saves you a lot of fucking time.
It does. It does. Well, I'm telling you, once, bro. I'll be telling stories of Quad probably to the end of this, to as long as we doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll never forget, man. Every mixing engineer, locked in 12-hour blocks. You know what I'm saying? I definitely have watched Tony Maserati. I've definitely seen Guru. I've definitely seen a lot of legendary engineers. You know what I'm saying? Come through, and they always locked in 12-hour blocks. And then I saw Michael Brower do 3 mixes in 13 hours.
That's fucking crazy. We were just talking about that yesterday. Yeah.
And it was just because his system was so specific. Like, and I realized, like, wow, he's not only just better than everybody else, he's faster than them too. Yeah. And he's just making significantly more money than any other mixing engineer I had ever seen. Yeah, and that's it. And honestly, this is really we're talking about mixing. We're talking about measuring sound, but this is really just about business.
Yeah.
Right? Like I could say that I'm a mixing engineer and I also run a business. I can tell you one thing: your ability to systemize whatever it is that you do allows things to happen more systematically, faster, more efficiently, and you can scale. You can get more things done, and a lot of those things get done without you. So this is it's a lesson in mixing, but it's really a lesson in being a successful businessman, being an entrepreneur. Yeah, successful. We was tripping off Vlad. I don't know if I can say that, but
yeah. We know some
violence and debauchery.
Violence and debauchery, volume 8. All right, well, yeah, shit, man. We over time, man. So that being said, man. Y'all ready to close it?
Yes.
Okay, cool. With that being said, man, this has been Tight Beat. We are live from outer space in Unapologetic Studio. My name is I Make Mad Beats, and my cast,
LJ1S.
Unique.
C Major.
Kid Maestro.
Yeah.
Kid.
Yeah, stay tuned in, stay tapped in. We're doing this every Saturday at 2 p.m. CST. Go ahead and download the Unapologetic World app. It's available for iOS and Android in a few days. Right? We had some updates to make, but if you got an iPhone, you can go ahead and get that right now. We got a new version up. It's a lot of crazy things happening in there.
Crazy.
Be sure to check us out in the app. And with that being said, y'all stay safe, stay dangerous, do both or do neither.
Yeah.
Peace.
Bitch, are you jealous?
Oh shit, here we go again.